how I would book Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair going into WrestleMania 38. It's fantasy booking time once again here on SCW, so please like the video, share the video, subscribe as well, and let me know in the comments section if you enjoyed this video and how you would book this match going into WrestleMania 38. Now, before we start, there's a few things you need to keep note of, and first and foremost, going through the timeline, Becky Lynch winning the first women's WrestleMania main event at WrestleMania 35, becoming Becky 2 belts, defeating Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair. Bianca Belair winning the second women's WrestleMania main event, of course, last year at WrestleMania 37, defeating Sasha Banks to become the SmackDown Women's Champion. Becky Lynch returning to SummerSlam last year after what was a 16-month hiatus away from the company, going off to be a mum, to come back and surprise Bianca Belair and win the SmackDown Women's Championship in 26 seconds. Becky Lynch looking to avoid Bianca Belair getting disqualified and getting out of matches at all costs, eventually pick up a pinfall victory via cheating on a Monday Night Raw. Bianca Belair having then to go to the back of the line and work her way back up the ladder, of course getting the longest time in the Women's Royal Rumble once again this year for I believe the third year in a row, and then of course winning the #1 Contenders Elimination Chamber match at the Elimination Chamber Premium Live event, outlasting the likes of Doudrop, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Nikki ASH and Alexa Bliss. And last but not least, the face-to-face last week on Monday Night Raw, where both Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair saying that they were the first two ever women to win the two first ever women's WrestleMania main events, and they will go head to head this year, with Becky saying that of course she won 2 major championships to become Becky 2 belts, where Bianca Belair said, well look, you may have been in the first, but I did it better by having a better match winning the SmackDown Women's Championship against Sasha Banks. And Becky also blamed Bianca for why the fans turned on her, of course, with that return at SummerSlam last year. So that's pretty much everything you need to know going into the video. And of course, WWE have announced as well that Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's Championship will be on night 1 of WrestleMania, more or less hinting to the fact that this will be the main event of that show, and I want that going into this to be officially announced as the main event for night 1, because then we've got the question mark of where does this leave the 2 former winners from WrestleMania main events? Where does this leave Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair? We can get Becky Lynch coming out on the microphone saying, hey, why am I not in the main event? I'm the biggest draw. I'm the one that hasn't lost a women's championship for years now. I took a break off to become a mum, came back and won the championship. I guess WWE don't want in their main event another match that is expected to last 26 seconds, which can lead Bianca Belair to come out and say, look, this isn't going to be 26 seconds this time. I'm ready, I'm prepared. You caught me off guard last time, I'm not going to be like that again, and I've worked my way up to the top here. I am going to win the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania 38. But one thing you have got right is, why aren't we the main event? We've done this before, we've been in that position, we've shown we can win on the biggest stage, on the biggest moments. We should be given that opportunity. Which leads to Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville coming out and saying, well look, it's quite simple. Ronda Rousey won the Women's Royal Rumble. She made her selection of the championship of the face. Becky, she didn't pick you. Bianca, you were in the Women's Royal Rumble. You didn't win that, so therefore that's the reason why that match is the main event for night 1 of WrestleMania and why yours isn't. But if you want to prove it, we're going to make things a little bit interesting. We're going to up the stakes a little bit. If you two can agree to get on the same page and be a team, maybe you two can face Charlotte and Ronda in a tag team match, and then the winner of that will be the night 1 main event of WrestleMania, and the loser will be the opening match of night 2. From this, you can get a quick Becky Lynch being very unhappy about the idea that she's got a team with this dope, someone that she thinks she is clearly head and shoulders above, and why should she need to prove herself still to be in this position? Bianca Belair, though, can be on a different side of the argument here and say, look, yeah, I don't want to team with you. You're the last person I would choose to be in a partnership here, but to see what the goal is at the end of this, I know that I can be in the main event of night 1 of WrestleMania. I will put my feelings to you to the side, and I will do what's best for our careers and actually prove this to be a team. Becky reluctantly agrees, and we have set up then an idea of who will be night 1 of WrestleMania tag team match set for WrestleMania SmackDown. That's right, just before WrestleMania, we're going to have the big tag team match between us. And in the meantime, we'll get the tune-up match. And of course, because it's WWE, of course, you're going to get Becky and Bianca going against the women's tag team champions, because there's no other teams in the division. There's no one else to test yourself against. They will go against Queen Zelina and Carmella in tag team action. And of course, the two single stars will overcome the odds, even though they find it difficult to be on the same page. They will do just enough on this night to pick up the W. But one other little fun note we can add to this match as well, just to give it a little bit of flavour here. Just before Bianca Belair can hit the KOD to try and get the pinfall victory, a blind tag is made by Becky Lynch. So Becky Lynch is the one that can make the pinfall off Bianca Belair's hard work. So we got that coming from there. They've got a bit of momentum going now into this match, as Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey on SmackDown also will have a tune-up tag team match. And well, I don't want to put them against Sasha Banks and Naomi. They've just been sort of thrown together just now. Let's not ruin that momentum that quickly for that team. Let's throw two random people together. Maybe Natalya and Shotzi are the people that get together to go against Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey. And just to give you a little bit of a note from their match, of course, Charlotte and Ronda will pick up the victory as well, but Ronda pretty much does all the work single-handedly. Charlotte Flair is just basically a passenger watching from the corner, because Ronda doesn't need anybody's help. So let's go for then WrestleMania SmackDown, then the tag team match. Who is going to be the main event of night one of WrestleMania? A few interesting notes to come from this match as well, because, well, both of the heels are kind of happy for the babyfaces to take a beating in this match to try and get whatever advantage they can going into the WrestleMania match. Almost becomes a pointless victory at WrestleMania, matter more than the placement on the card. But at the same time, Becky Lynch very reluctant to get into the ring with Ronda Rousey, obviously making the first sort of steps for that program for WrestleMania 39. Becky only happy to come into the match when there's an advantage that Bianca has got over Ronda Rousey. Therefore, she's happy to come in and get the beating on Ronda Rousey. But of course, eventually there is a miscommunication here between Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair, which leads to Ronda Rousey picking up a pinfall victory over Bianca Belair. From this point after the match, we know then that it will remain Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair on the main event of night one of WrestleMania. On night two will be the opener, Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair. But of course, Becky not happy with how things have turned out here, and before Bianca Belair can make a recovery and get herself away from the ring, Becky Lynch goes and gets herself a steel chair and starts beating Bianca Belair continuously with the chair. Complete beat down to the point that we're unsure of the condition that we're going to get with Bianca Belair going into WrestleMania, because also Becky knows deep down that it was the surprise factor that got her that such quick win before, that she basically did what she needed to get the quick victory at SummerSlam. That's not going to happen the second time around. The closest bet she's got when she's bigged herself up big time bets to win in quick fashion again is to really take Bianca to the point that she's got nothing going in to WrestleMania 38. So that was the reasoning for this beatdown going in to the show of shows. So the time talking is finished. It is WrestleMania 38 Night 2. Becky Lynch makes her entrance to kick off the show. We're in the situation with Bianca Belair, but of course she is there. She is ready to go for Night 2. Just as the bell is about to ring, and usually with these big matches of WrestleMania, we see the bell ring, we see patience with two athletes, a stare down, all that sort of stuff. We don't get that here. Before the bell just near enough can even ring, Becky Lynch wasting no time getting a beatdown in once again on Bianca Belair, trying to win in the quickest fashion possible. In fact, hitting a manhandle slam within 20 seconds of the match to try and get the pinfall victory. But this time, on a count of two, Bianca Belair manages to kick out. So we know that we tried to replay SummerSlam last year, but of course it wasn't to working effect this year. But of course, Bianca is beaten. She's broken down. Becky Lynch knows that she has it exactly where she wants it, even at the beginning of this match. And big move after big move, a Bexploder, trying to go for whatever big move we can see Becky Lynch try and do, whether it's submission or it's pinfall. Every single time, Bianca Belair just won't quit. She won't give up, to the point that eventually Bianca can find herself to break into the match, can get a comeback story coming into it, and eventually hitting a KOD. And of course, after the first one, I want this to be as big as possible on WrestleMania. We can get a kick out, we can have some exchanges towards the end between the two of them, another manhandle slam, maybe the disarmor, all those sort of big moves that perhaps Becky Lynch has done throughout her career, but still Bianca Belair finds a way to overcome it, hits another KOD, and yes, you have got a brand new Raw Women's Champion. That's right, Bianca Belair winning the championship in a match that's not 26 seconds. Instead, I've gone for 26 minutes. Now, if you're thinking, well, that's a happy story finish there, the redemption has got from SummerSlam, I'm not finished yet. So strap yourselves in because, well, the following night on Raw, Becky Lynch is going to say, look, this was a complete fluke. Look, there's no way she can overcome me. That was a one-off. Something was wrong the night before. The lights got in her eye or something stupid like that. She says she wants a rematch, and damn it, she's going to get one at WrestleMania Backlash. And Bianca Belair says, look, you want a rematch? Look, there's probably a clause in the contract you can have it, but I tell you what, let's up the stakes a little bit. Let's make a stipulation match for our match at WrestleMania Backlash. And I'll tell you how we're going to do it to the side. Both of us are going to take places in matches, and we're going to do a beat the clock challenge. That's right, because this is starting off a 26-second match that we had at SummerSlam. Let's bring the time factor in here and how we can decide who is going to get to pick the stipulation for WrestleMania Backlash. Both women have matches on the night, and of course Bianca Belair is going to be the one that's going to get the faster time, going to come out on top with things. So she gets to pick the stipulation going in to WrestleMania Backlash, and what better way to do it? And the ladies couldn't, of course, main event WrestleMania, but they can main event this show. They're going to do it with a 60-minute Iron Woman match. That's right, Iron Man match, Iron Woman match, whichever you prefer is your flavour. That's what they're going to do here, because then that way we can find out ultimately who is the person that can get the most falls, who is the better woman on the night. And of course, Becky Lynch can be flabbergasted by the idea she's got to compete for 60 minutes at first, but then of course she can get her cocky lines in, and well, of course you're going to need that amount of time if you think you're going to beat me once again. It was a fluke at WrestleMania, you're never going to do it again. Your best chance of doing it, of course you're going to want a match that's going to have 60 minutes involved in it. What you don't realise is that I'm actually going to beat you 4 or 5 times in that time anyway. It's not even going to be a contest. So we can get to the pay-per-view at that point then, and perhaps it can be a build of who is the better of the two of them. Try and have that strategy, try and put it on that platform. Two of the best women of this generation. Who is the better wrestler? Who is the better performer? Who is the champion of the Raw brand? And of course, I watched recently over once again Kurt Angle versus Brock Lesnar, their 60-minute Iron Man match from SmackDown. I would actually implore a similar strategy in this match. Bianca Belair looking to be the best performer, trying to be the best wrestler. Becky Lynch trying to use her brain and strategy to pick up the more pinfalls. The idea of perhaps using a weapon early in the match to try and get herself disqualified for one fall, but then to try and get that advantage to get a couple of falls in her way. And we can sort of build that up as the match goes along. Becky can sort of perhaps get an advantage, but the difference between the Lesnar and Angle match, Lesnar did that and was never caught. He managed to pick up the victory. I would find a way where Bianca Belair maybe could be 2-3 falls down, but can find a way to win the match for free by picking up the final fall in the final few seconds of the match. I think that would be pretty exciting. So that's pretty much how I would book this anyway, to finish off this feud, which I think has been now going on for many months, but I think certainly has got a bit of mileage for a couple months more. Let me know what you think about this video in the comments below. Have you enjoyed it? What would you do differently? I'd be interested to know your thoughts with this particular feud. Who do you see winning on top? Is Bianca Belair the right winner from this, or should Becky Lynch retain the Raw Women's Championship? Should there be someone else that wins the title from her? I'm interested and looking forward to interacting with you in the comments below. Go and check out other videos on the channel right now as well, and plus there'll be more videos dropping this week on the channel, so plenty of reason to like this video, also subscribe to the channel as well, and turn on notifications so you know each and every time I make a release. But that's all from me. Thank you for watching. Have yourselves a good one. You've been watching SCW here on YouTube. Take care.